want to go back to our conversation about glaciers and ask you a question. Does it matter if the park's glaciers disappear? Honestly, the answer is yes. And it's not just because the wildlife and plants that thrive in the environment will be impacted. Remember when we talked about the Continental Divide and how water there ends up in 3 river basins that supply millions of people with water to drink, wash clothes in, and irrigate farms? If permanent sources of water like glaciers disappear, so does the amount of water in the river basins. That means less water for the people and animals who depend on it. Disappearing glaciers also mean the park can become more vulnerable to wildfires like the Howe Ridge Fire. That one burned 13,000 acres. Yeah, all very sobering thoughts for such a short time frame.
Picture, right?
Yeah.
All right, after this next curve, we can pull off on our right to Bird Woman Falls Overlook and catch some incredible views of this 500-foot high natural wonder.
But you want to stop again? Stop.
Light one because an ఆపక్క ఇప్పుడు ఈ లైట్ లో బాగాలేదు ఆపక్క కొంచెం వేరియేషన్ లైట్ అవుతుంది
Long before the road existed or before the train arrived bringing tourists to what felt like a very wild area, the pagan branch of Blackfeet lived here, going back dozens of generations, spanning more than 10,000 years. Now just think about how long you've lived in your town and how well you know it. Then imagine if your family had lived in that same area for 10,000 years. Yeah, it kind of casts a new light on the term family traditions, doesn't it? Well, the Blackfeet, whose nation is east of Glacier National Park today, followed a nomadic life that brought them as far south as Yellowstone and all the way north into Canada. But they called the area known as the park today as the backbone of the world. What's incredible is wildfires and melting glaciers have revealed evidence of their ancestors' bison hunts, going back almost 5,000 years, with park researchers discovering bison bones, skulls, teeth, and more. For most of their recent history, the Blackfeet were feared by many tribes as great warriors who were more than 15,000 people strong. For a long time, they controlled almost all of Montana, and encounters with white people were peaceful. But then things started to fall apart for the Blackfeet and other tribes when the U.S. Army waged its campaign against bison from 1830 to 65, killing 40 million bison. Since tribes like the Blackfeet relied on bison for meat, clothes, and shelter, as well as spiritually, the animal's disappearance was devastating. That's an understatement.
Why did they kill
In 1895, the Blackfeet, on the brink of starvation, sold their lands that make up Glacier National Park today to the U.S. government. Didn't make much sense to the elders back then that anyone could own land or the wild animals that lived on it. 10 years before the tribe was forced to sell their land, Chief Crowfoot said, "We cannot sell the lives of men and animals. Therefore, we cannot sell this land. It was put here for us by the Great Spirit, and we cannot sell it because it does not belong to us." Chief Crowfoot's view of the world was so different than the Euro-American view of land ownership. Can you imagine what life would be like for us if his view prevailed? Today, almost 10,000 Blackfeet live on 1.5 million acres east of Glacier and south of the Canadian border.